Every fighter dreams of glory, but not everyone has the mindset to reach it. In the heart of Dublin, a young fighter was on the edge of giving up until a legend walked into his life. Conor McGregor, the king of self-belief, had a lesson to teach, one that could change everything. But would the young fighter be ready to hear it?
Inside the octagon. But beyond the bravado, Conor had something more, an unwavering belief in himself. And sometimes, that belief was exactly what a struggling fighter needed. In a small gym in Dublin, a young fighter named Liam was on the verge of quitting. He had trained for years, pushing himself through grueling workouts and endless sparring sessions. Yet he always fell short when it mattered most. His amateur record was filled with losses, and every defeat chipped away at his confidence. "Maybe I'm just not meant to do this," Liam muttered to himself after another tough day at the gym. The coach saw his frustration but knew words wouldn't be enough this time. One evening, the gym doors swung open, and in walked Conor McGregor himself. A room went silent as jaws dropped. It wasn't every day that a former UFC champion visited a local gym. Whispers filled the air as everyone looked in awe, but Conor's sharp eyes scanned the room, searching for something or someone. Conor noticed Liam sitting alone in the corner, his head down, wrapping his hands without enthusiasm. He walked over, pulling up a chair beside him. "You look like a man who's got a lot on his mind," Conor said. "What's bothering you, kid?" Liam hesitated. He had looked up to McGregor for years, but he couldn't hide his frustration. "I keep losing," Liam admitted. "No matter how hard I train, when I step into the ring, I freeze up. Maybe I'm just not good enough." McGregor let out a short laugh. "Not good enough? You think I was born winning fights?" "I lost plenty before I won anything," McGregor continued. "When I started, people told me I'd never make it. Too wild. Too reckless. But I knew something they didn't. I knew I wouldn't stop until I proved them wrong."
Conor leaned forward, his tone serious. "Fighting isn't just about skill, lad. It's about belief. You step into that cage already doubting yourself. You've lost before the fight even starts. Confidence isn't given, it's earned. And you earn it by showing up, taking the hits, and standing back up." Liam listened intently. No one had ever put it that way before. "You think I never doubted myself?" McGregor asked. "I had nights where I lay awake wondering if I was wasting my time. But do you know what I told myself? That I was the best, even before I was. I acted like a champion, trained like a champion, until one day, I became one." That night, Liam went home with Conor's words echoing in his mind. He realized that the biggest battle he had to fight wasn't against an opponent, it was against his own doubts. The next day at training, something had changed. Liam walked in with a fire in his eyes. He pushed harder, took the hits, and didn't hesitate to throw his punches. The gym noticed the change. Weeks turned into months, and Liam's record began to shift. He won fights, not because he had suddenly become the best fighter, but because he stopped letting fear control him. His confidence grew, and with each victory, he started to see himself in a new light. 1 year later, Liam stood backstage at his biggest fight yet. The crowd roared outside, the lights blazed down, and the nerves crept in. His hands shook slightly as he tightened his gloves. His phone buzzed. A message from Conor McGregor. "Walk in like you own the place. You're ready." The fight went the distance, and when the final bell rang, Liam stood tall, knowing he had given it his all. The decision was announced, and the crowd erupted. Liam had won. He wasn't just another fighter anymore. He was a warrior who had reclaimed his confidence, and for the first time in his life, he truly believed in himself. A smirk crossed Liam's face. He took a deep breath, rolled his shoulders, and stepped into the ring. He was no longer the hesitant fighter from before. He was a warrior, ready to prove himself. As the bell rang, Liam's opponent came at him aggressively. The first round was tough. Punches landed, sweat dripped, and his body ached. But he didn't let the fear creep in. He remembered Conor's words and fought back with everything he had. "You look like a man who's got a lot on his mind," he said with a smile, echoing the words that had once changed his life. And just like that, the cycle continued, because belief wasn't just about winning fights. It was about passing on the fire that had been ignited within him. Who knows, maybe one day, that young fighter would carry the torch forward, just as Liam had. The story ends here. If you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a like. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking, and see you in the next story.